Love Master. That's a good message. That's a good tag you have there. We should use that. I haven't thought of that. We're always going under the awakening banner, or the Buddha within, or American Dharma banner. Love, that is the way, the truth, and the light. And it's something you can find, wisdom you can find anywhere. Loving awareness, as Ram Dass called it. As I like to study Buddhism and spiritual things, contemplative practices, somewhat world religions, even mystical songs, biographies of the masters and saints and sages, I came upon this, which I wanted to share with you today, in the scripture known as the AAA Journal that I get every month from AAA. I don't know if you remember, but it's a good way to get help along the path. You never know when you might break down on the path. You need some help from somebody with 3A awareness, not to mention a tow truck. It's called Baby Steps. Eventually I'll get on to talking about what you want to hear about, which is something like walking, meditation, Buddhism, but just bear with me. Learning to walk is the ultimate milestone, setting each of us on a path of interdependence. The joyous screams of those who helped us get upright unconsciously remain, always propelling us forward. I thought this was really touching. Touched my inner child, also reminded me of my very elder, mostly gone now, gurus, and how I still feel their encouragement and joy at, you know, any of us getting on with the good life, whether it's learning to walk or learning to walk on the path. On foot, the world comes into focus. Is this not a comment on mindful walking, on walking meditation, on living in awareness day to day? With each stride, details pop up from every direction. And the beauty is, you can be on an exotic vacation or right in your own familiar neighborhood to watch this very life come alive. Walking is the ultimate elixir. Wouldn't you think this would be something that like Thoreau would be saying in his great famous essay on nature that he wrote 150 years ago, the early Buddhist Bodhisattva Thoreau of Concord? Walking is the ultimate elixir. From improved physical health to psychological relaxation, health and relief, sounder sleep, it touches almost everything in our life in a positive way. Exercise is therapy. And there are so many magic intangibles that walking can also reveal. Walks and talks have been important in my life, the author's saying, and that's certainly true for me too. Sometimes these walkie-talkies are planned, sometimes not. This is my commentary, calling them walkie-talkies. But the connections forged in those intimate outdoor moments are undeniable. Thoreau, Henry David Thoreau, my erstwhile neighbor here in Concord, Mass., Emerson's disciple, claimed that he needed no less than 4 hours a day of, quote, sauntering through the woods and over hills and fields, absolutely free from all worldly engagements. Otherwise, he became rusty. I'm reading here from Awakening to the Sacred, my book of all kinds of Buddhist practices, spiritual practices, sorry. Building a Spiritual Life from Scratch, Awakening to the Sacred, from the 90s. Thoreau said, almost no one understands the art of walking, what it means to just roam and saunter. I love that word, saunter. Listen to this. Thoreau advised us to walk like a camel, which ruminates. Oh, I lost my place. Which ruminates while slowly traveling. absorbing its own resources from within, knowing oases remain to be found and arrived at. Thoreau likened this sauntering and wandering to the meandering of a river, which, although seemingly willy-nilly in its course and progress, is uneluctedly following the course of nature, of gravity, and without a great deal of intention, finding the shortest course back to the sea. Thoreau said, and this is a quote, "Every walk is a crusade." Walking is very popular these days as an exercise. People talk about getting their 10,000 steps and they have wristbands, what Apple Watches to prove it or to count it. Walking is a great practice, especially if you're restless or find it hard to sit. Meditation is not just sitting. We don't meditate with our legs, we meditate with our attention, with our awareness, dare I say, with our mind, with our consciousness. Buddha said there were 4 main positions for cultivating mindfulness, which was his definition of meditation. 4 main positions: sitting, walking, standing, and lying down. 4 main positions for meditating. That pretty well covers it. In other words, every position, every posture, every action is a good time, a good position, a good asana to cultivate attentive awareness, present awareness, mindfulness, awareness of awareness itself. I find this a great teaching and inspiration, especially for integrating Dharma, integrating freedom and beauty and the sacred into daily life, whether you're walking or not. Buddha mentioned those 4 positions. Of course, that means every position. We could also include, obviously, squatting, leaning, bending. I'm thinking hitchhiking. You may be thinking texting, whatever. All positions, any position. It's all fair game for mindfulness practice and cultivation. There's no foul, no out of bounds here. Some people call it, the theists, taking a walk with God or walking with the eternal companion. That's a great way to do it. Sometimes I go outside and I feel like I'm in God's land, in God's country. It makes me happy. I love taking a walk with my eternal companion, not that I exactly always articulate it that way. All you need, I'm reading from my book now, all you need, no, I know you want to hear about mindfulness. Sometimes I do slow walking mindfulness meditation for an hour or so in whatever kind of airport terminal, bus station, line, movie line, waiting for my late friends, whatever, train platform, maternity ward waiting for new arrivals, hospice, sick bed visits, slow walking meditation, standing meditation, etc. To stay alive, to live rather than killing time by deadening myself, killing time. Some wise guy said, killing time is like, what's exactly did he say? It doesn't matter. Is like harming eternity. Anyway, I know it all sounds very intentional and disciplined and mindful. That's not the whole story. Life is also spontaneous, mysterious. You can be childlike also at times. Sometimes I just drift. After all, who's watching? What am I trying to accomplish? Where do I think I'm going? Who knows? It reminds me of the symbol of Thich Nhat Hanh, the great Buddhist master and peace activists, Plum Village in France, his refugee community, refugees from Vietnam, if you don't know. The logo, the symbol is a hammock. Thich Nhat Hanh knows at least 10 languages, including Buddhist scholarly languages of old, of Asia. He's fluent in French and English, which he teaches. He's written 20, 30, 40 books. He was nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize in 1970s by Martin Luther King. He's a great social activist. He ain't no slouch. And yet the symbol of his community, refugee community, expatriates abroad in France, is the hammock. I love that. All you need, friends, is a comfortable pair of shoes, or whatever form they take today, or no shoes at all. This is your path, the path from which you cannot fall. Your own feet will have to do. So I've been thinking about this and walking and exercising, and even how in different places and traditions, people practice in different ways. In the Zen tradition, we sit for 20 minutes still in a very good erect posture, then walk for 20 minutes slowly in a certain posture with your hands by your chest and so on. Very mindful kind of contemplative posture, meditative walking called Kinhin, walking Zen, and then sitting Zen, Zazen. So in a retreat, we would alternate 20 minutes, 20 minutes. You might try that. What, 15 or 30 minutes sitting and then 15 or 30 minutes walking outside or standing outside, which also helps one stay awake. Sometimes I go to meditation centers and I see people walking around outside very, very slowly, often wearing slippers or flip-flops or barefoot. And I feel like I've come to the wrong place. I've fallen into a mental institution, but that's just my jokey mind at work. I mean, what's the hurry after all? I could say a lot more about this. I'm trying to tout the practice of walking mindfully, attentively, not being plugged in at every orifice to distract yourself, make sure you won't be bored. You know, earphones, microphone, maybe chewing on a protein bar or something, or a munchie, and maybe plugged in other orifices too. I don't know. Having our modern bleeding edge Apple Watch on our wrist, that's a computer, a phone, a step counter, a blood oxygen measure, and everything else. I mean, how many things do we need to be in touch with every single bit of our life, even if we take a walk outside? Maybe sometimes we could unplug just a little. I myself don't listen to those things when I take walks. On purpose, I don't. Sometimes I listen to books on tape or music and chanting in the car, of course, or NPR or some radio I want to hear, or a sports event. But generally, when I take nature walks or exercise walks, I don't let myself be plugged in those ways. Breath, body, breath, energy, spirit, mind. It's a continuum, it's a whole. Like chanting, walking is a body, mind, and spirit, heart, and soul practice. If we add the magic potion of awareness cultivation to it, it could be a panacea, cure our afflictions. As Buddha said, my Dharma is beautiful, is liberating, is noble in the beginning, the middle, and the end. So we don't really, in our tradition, talk too much about beginners or new students or old students or seniority and rank. Everybody's equal before God. I mean, Buddha. These words are just placeholders. Let's focus on the equal. So important for these anxious and restless times we live in, including one and all. Not just people that look like us, not just people who agree with us, not just humans. Animals have rights too. They're all living things. And even the inanimate world, look at our endangered environment we have to take care of. And the air and the water, so important. Take a walk or have a walkie-talkie with one of your friends, beloveds, children, dog, cat, I don't know. I see some people sometimes outside walking with cats on a leash and I think, I don't know about this. Anyway, bow wow. Scratch a dog, find a God. That's what I say. Walking is great practice because you can do it anywhere. You know, kind of like sitting, but maybe you can't sit anywhere, but you can walk. Nobody knows what you're doing and nobody cares. And it's good for oneself and energy and everything. It's probably good for the environment. I think so. That's why the Ents, the walking trees of Middle Earth, the walking trees are so valuable and wonderful. And some of my best friends are trees, like the 6 or 7 trees out in front of my house. I always walk under them at night, and it feels like a sacred grove, like the academy, the grove where Plato taught, where seekers like Aristotle studied, where Socrates had sat, called the grove or the academy. That's the kind of academy it was, under the trees. Just like Buddha and his monks and nuns spent 3 months every year in the rainy season in the Jetavana Grove, living under the trees to stay out of the rain, not walking on the path so they wouldn't step on worms and insects. This is history. So we too can get a lot from our friends, the trees, who it seems to me all the roots are underground interwoven like banyan trees, and all the branches are reaching up to the sky, but also reaching down and making roots themselves like banyan trees. Look it up. It's a great image, the banyan tree. It's a relative of the Bodhi tree, the people tree. The Buddha sat under. So I ain't no tree hugger, but I'm a tree lover, and some of my best friends are trees. Homage to the trees. Yes, once I even slept inside a tree. I was in Nepal. It was the early 70s. I was alone. I was studying at my teacher's monastery. I climbed up from Kathmandu Valley up to the top of Shivapuri Mountain through the forest. And my teacher and his son and my sister told me where to go, where the hot spring was, where the Baba was who lived there, Shivapuri Baba, Hindu holy man, where the cave was that was a little wet, but one could sleep there. And it was really steep. And I finally got there. It took me about all day. And I didn't find the Baba. And I found the hot spring. It wasn't hot anymore. And I found the cave, and it was full of bats, and it was so dripping that I couldn't stay there. And then it started to rain. So I foolishly decided to get back down the mountain before it was too late, which of course was impossible. But I was 23. What do I know? And I had a pack on my back, and a part of it broke, hit a tree limb or something, came down and hit it. And so the pin came out and it separated from the pack frame. And so I was walking along like heffalump, you know, hef, horrible, heffalump, hef, horrible, heffalump in the children's rhyme. And I'm heffalumping along with the pack, like going like that. And it's raining. And I'm covering my head with the Sunday New York Times. No, I'm in Nepal. I got nothing except the pack falling off my back. I haven't seen a Time magazine or Times, you know, for a year. And I'm like, and it's raining, and, you know, I'm trying to pretend that I'm enjoying it, that this is a pilgrimage, that it's great. You know, I'm here. It's a holy place. And, you know, the pack's falling off my back. I start to ache on that side. So I like shifted to the other side, and the path down the mountain is becoming like a stream, you know, a rocky stream instead of just a dirt path with some roots and rocks. And I'm slipping and sliding, and I'm pretty athletic, and, you know, I know how to fall and a lot of other things from my majoring in sports when I was growing up, and minoring in reading. And it was raining so much. Also, need I say, I didn't have any food, flashlight, chocolate bar, compass, you know, the things like that hikers might have if they tried to climb something like Mount Washington here in New Hampshire or somewhere, so they wouldn't die in the Tuckerman Pass like used to happen. So, and I came upon this giant tree that was hollowed out inside. It had like a little opening, like a little cave-like mouth. And I looked inside, and it was like, I don't know, it might have been a lair for some animals, but it wasn't like smelly or anything. And I went in there and I spent the night in there. And I tried to fix my pack in the dark, and, you know, finally I gave up, and I just had a really nice snooze in there. And the sound of the rain and the tree kind of groaning in the wind. So some of my best friends are trees. That tree saved my night, probably not my life, but it was a real refuge. I found a port in the storm, something to rely on, a sanctuary, a refuge. So I take refuge in the green Buddha that's in all growing things and natural things. That's a true story. Maybe I'll write about it in my memoir with the names of the teachers and the places and a little more details. Although that's pretty much the main thing. I think I tried to write a children's story about it. It's called Tree Sleeping. Anyway, I wanted to share that with you today, a little bit about walking and outside and spring in honor of the trees. Yesterday was May Day. So although May Day may be a call for help, it's also a beautiful day of spring. There used to be a May Day parade in countries like Czechoslovakia, I think. That's where the gays first came out, and they declared Allen Ginsberg, the great American poet who was a gay leader since the 1950s, the Queen of the May, and he rode on like a palanquin in a procession in Prague in the old days, and it was very, very, very controversial. Of course, it was in the news and Time magazine, Life magazine, and all that with pictures. The point is, May Day is a great day to celebrate spring and coming to life and flourishment and the effulgence, the gift of nature, of which we're a part. This good earth, nature grows up through us wildly, wildly. We can wave our arms and reach up to the sky in the rain also and turn our faces upwards, even if we just elevate our gaze, because there's nothing up there that ain't down here. Anyway, we can elevate our hearts and stick to the high ground, no matter what others do. So now let's continue on the cleaving to the high ground with Devkut, as it says in the Kabbalah, cleaving to God or cleaving to the sacred, wherever you are. Taking a walk, should I say taking a sit with our eternal companion, whether you consider it God or Goddess or Buddha or Tara or the Virgin Mary or Allah or the great Tao, the ever-present flow, energy. Whether you consider outside and transcendent over us or inside, immanent, indwelling, inherent in each of us, like our true self with a capital S, the big self, the divine transpersonal being, not just a small separate ego self with a small s, but the big self with a capital S, the divine transcendent transpersonal being, not just a separate being, but being itself, which informs every molecule, every atom of us. Let's have a nice sit together, a contemplative walk through our own inner garden, cultivate our own garden for change. Think globally, but act locally, beginning with our own garden and each other here locally. Just sitting, just breathing, just awareful, just sitting, natural bodies, Buddha's body, just breathing, natural breath and energy, Buddha's breath and energy, Sambhogakaya, just being, natural wakefulness, Buddha's heart mind, Dharmakaya, natural body, natural breath and energy, natural mind, the three naturals, the three pillars of natural meditation, non-meditation, unmeditation, undoing the habit of overdoing, just being for a moment, taking a vacation from our busy selves, as some say in vernacular, taking a vacation from ourselves. Give yourself a break, have some self-love, self-compassion. Give yourself a break. Let the internal dialogue, the internal monologue quiet down a little, if it will, or just enjoy the twittering like children in the schoolyard. Be the kindergarten teacher, not just one of the children in the bumper cars of the kindergarten room. More like the kindergarten teacher, just hearing the inner voices and letting them twitter if they're twittering. And I don't mean online, tweet like birds. The happy sounds of children playing outside, as it should be. not putting in earplugs to get rid of them so you can meditate. What's better than that? Just smiling with the happy sounds of children, letting everything else go could be our natural meditation. I want to be the bodhisattva of children and lift them all up in the light. The inner child in each of us still there, wants to stand up and dance and laugh. Let her go. Let them go. Let them be free. The inner child in each and all of us, uncorrupted, not bent out of shape by the slings and arrows of conditioning, of outrageous fortune, the unfairnesses and vicissitudes of this gritty life. The uncorruptible, clear light, our immaculate spirit, beneath it all, permeating it all, transcendent yet immanent in it all. Back to the meditation instructions, just breathing, just sitting and feeling the physical sensations and just being aware. The three naturals, the three pillars of natural meditation, Dzogchen meditation. Ah, how sweet it is. Enjoy the joy of contemplative sweetness. Take a vacation from your busy self and your public persona or your home personality and just being. This breath, only breath, this moment, the only moment. Imaho. Wondrous, amazing, eureka, hallelujah, amen. Catch the buoyant updrafts of innate awakefulness, lucid, open, free, luminous. Assume your Buddha seat, friends. Imaho. Now for a tune-up, take a big inhalation and exhale with the Dzogchen seed syllable. Ah, say ah for Dr. Das. Breathing in and with a big exhalation. Ah, go gaga. Ah, throw yourself inside out. Ah, empty yourself totally. Ah. Again, inhaling deeply and be the wizard of ah. That was just practice to warm up. Now let's really do it. Inhaling. May the power of the force be with you. Hold the breath out for 1 moment of pseudo sunyata. Fake emptiness. Turns inside out like a bubble burst in the sea. Sea of seeing, sea of being. See? How sweet it is in my home. And just continuing in the big the ultimate sphere, the Dharmakaya, the 5 ahs of the Dzogchen Mandala. Look at the cover of the blue books by Longchenpa. The 5 ahs of the Dzogchen Mandala. Assume your Buddha seat, be the Dzogchen Mandala. Your 5 senses, your 5 limbs, 5 skandhas, the 5 ahs. He's a wizard of like Longpapa, the Dharmakaya, open, letting go to a presence but inconceivable. What a relief. Gazing in the mirror of shunyata, of infinite openness, so-called emptiness, the mirror of shunyata, appreciating one's original face, clear light, brilliance of innate awareness. At the beginning was the without that, nothing else was made. Oh, tare, tare, so tare, tare, so mantra 4, the female Buddha mantra, Tara's mantra. Om tare tu tare turiye so ha tare tu tare turiye so ha. Om tare tu tare turiye so ham tare do tare so om tare do tare turiye so ha tare do tare turiye. So homage to the female Buddha, Tara, Om Taha, the liberatress, to Tare, to the so the guardian of the high ground within, guardian of Tibet, Om Tare, to Tare, to the so Tara, whose name means star, Om Tare, to Tare, to the so ha tare to tare to so Jetson Droma in Tibet, Droma liberator tare to tare to so first responder to prayers on tare to tare to so a personification of the sacred feminine principle, feminine energy within us all. Om tare to the so ha to tare to so holy Buddha Mother Tara, Arya Tara, purify and transform us. Purify and transform the entire world. Reach down, help us, hold us, heal us, harmonize us, holify us, be our 4-H mother. Tara, womb of enlightenment, mother of all the Buddhas, Prajnaparamita, Machigalamkan. Holy Mother Tara. Transmit your liberating, enlightened qualities and virtues to us, that we would become clear vessels, vehicles for your enlightening Buddha activity in this benighted, restless, agitated world. Peace, Om, Shanti, inner peace, outer peace and harmony. Help make us beautiful and beautify the entire world. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. There's a picture of Tara on the second shelf of my altar next to the red booklet. Next to Milarepa, the white Tara, the female Buddha. Alex put it there yesterday. Behind every great man, there's a great woman or goddess, as they say, and probably vice versa. Who knows? Behind every great person, there's 5 other kinds, at least, I'm sure. Hims and hers and thems and these and thous and we's. We is my pronoun, new pronoun. So let's go out chanting and singing and aspiring and say together Driksham Rinpoche's prayer from his long prayer-like poem, which is actually a whole book, a Buddhist text called My Crazy Tale, an autobiography of the 12th Dragon Lama, the Gyalwang Drukpa. If you want to look him up online, the Gyalwang Drukpa has a marvelous website. He has a blog that he himself writes, which you can enjoy, and so on. A great living master, the head of the Dragon Kagyu School, the Drukpa Kagyu School of Tibetan Buddhism, the main religion, the main school of Buddhism in the country of Bhutan, for example. I call on you, my teachers, regard me, us, with compassion. We sincerely wish to receive your manifold blessings. Please regard your child's longing desire. Please bless me with the resolve to attain realization. Bless me to have a steady and smooth mind, so that for this life and those to follow, as a true practitioner whose heart and mind are in harmonious accord, the special intention to help others, the bodhicitta, the invaluable bodhicitta, is spontaneously present. May I be able to benefit measureless numbers of beings without the toxic stains of a competitive mind, without the intoxicating liquor of anger and lust. May I be able to practice the peaceful and soothing Dharma through listening and thinking and examining, especially about those teachings I practice. May I be able to precisely determine their meaning. Raising the victorious flag of the ultimate practice, may I be able to accomplish great service to the noble Dharma and to all beings. This is the way I pray. We pray all the time, and I request all of you to support my prayers and aspirations. I think I caught the buoyant updraft of the joy of meditation. I don't know what it is. I like it. Thank you. Thank you for joining me in this channel this morning. Hope you subscribe to Buddha Vision. It's a great cable channel and it's free. The price is your mind.
Well,
Any
Lama,
questions?
Yeah, Lama, we don't have any questions so far, but JC says, in the midst of our meditation, my 7-year-old son pulled out a loose tooth. Thank you for sharing that moment with me.
The Buddha tooth is enshrined in stupas and reliquaries and all over Asia. Buddha must have had a lot of teeth. What did J.C. Christ say? From the mouth of babes. He meant children, babies. From the mouths of children. Some teachers seem to be like dharmic dentists and drill deep without anesthesia. But in our tradition, we follow the joyous way, positive Buddhism, not dukkha dharma, but the joy of a wakefulness, the tantric distinction, everything is part of it. Life as a gift, the body as a temple, not as an obstacle or a hindrance, and so on. I think that's very important for us today. There's enough depressing news around us in the world, in this agitated and violent world. So I hope we're contributing to a better, more peaceful and harmonious world, not the opposite. And that's part of our mission here, the mission of transmission and transformation. Not fighting for peace, not killing for peace, as some historically have claimed, but being peace, becoming peace, as Thich Nhat Hanh put it. Being peace, becoming peace, making peace, being peacemakers. Shanti means peace, but it also means harmony, acceptance, inclusivity, openness, tolerance, all of that. Even resilience or flexibility rather than brittleness or dogmatism. Peace, harmony, balance, embodied in a great middle way, beyond extremes, beyond dogmatism, beyond polarities. No questions today? That's fine. I hope you'll join us for the next day-long retreat, which is May 5th. I think it's from 9 to 4 or 9 to 5 p.m. Eastern time. No doubt it's written there, typed in the chat bar. 9 to 4. My catcher's giving me the sign for the knuckleball. It's 9 to 4.
Lama, we do have a couple questions coming in.
Okay.
Let's see what we can get to. Eddie says, does Buddhism talk much about the yugas?
Buddhism inherited that kind of talk about yugas or aeons or kalpas, aeons from Hinduism. Let's remember, as Jesus was a Jew and inherited the Old Testament and thinking about that kind of cosmology and history and the patriarchs and etc. in a certain way, Buddha was a Hindu, and his reform or his discovery of how to become enlightened, fully enlightened, was part of the fabric of that kind of cosmology. And, you know, already in Eastern thought, in Hinduism, etc., there was the notion, for example, like of karma, of rebirth, of yugas, of many aeons, of the universe expanding and contracting, etc. So Buddhism doesn't emphasize that, but that's part of Buddhist cosmology. And we, in the Western Dharma movements and traditions, don't emphasize, you know, cosmology that much, or philosophy even, although you can study it plenty, but more experiential practice, self-inquiry, cultivating awareness, living the mindful life, virtue and generosity, and, you know, cultivating goodness and so on, helpfulness and so on. So I have to say, yes, it's part of Buddhist thinking, but no, it's not really emphasized. The yugas, like the Kali Yuga, that's from Hinduism, that this is a bad time. By this, don't think small, think in aeons. So this is said to be in Hindu thought, the Kali Yuga. Kali is a wrathful goddess. Kalikata is named after her, the city of Kali on the Ganges, Benares there, Ganges, Calcutta, Kalikata. This is supposed to be the Kali Yuga, but in Buddhism, we say this is the golden age. And you can read about this more in the Zen Buddhist books. Like now is the golden time when Buddha lived, not 2,600 years ago. So that's more of a Buddhist way of thinking that's congruent with our non-dual or awakefulness now, Dzogchen, positive Buddhist or tantric approach. This is the golden age, not pining to, wishing we had lived when Buddha was alive. First of all, how do we know we didn't? And what do we do at that time? Who knows? But this is the golden age, the holy now, the eternal now. The golden eternity, as Jack Kerouac called it, an early Buddhist type of bodhisattva thinker. So we don't really think of yugas that much. It's a good question. A relevant question would be why we don't focus on cosmology and some of these things, but that's for another day. If we're going to study about Buddhism in the West and what's essential and what's secondary and what's supportive and what's conducive to our goals and what may or may not be. Do we have another question, Ben, before we have the last rites here?
I believe we're out of time. Dear Lama.
Okay. I bet you got a text from Menla about that right now. Menla runs a tight ship and keeps us on time.
So thank you, everybody, so much. Again, we have some upcoming events. Ask the Lama on May 26th. We have another installment of the Ask the Lama session from 7:30 to 9:30 p.m. We have our one-day live virtual retreat on Saturday, June 5th from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. And as always, you can tune in every Sunday for our meditation town hall. If you appreciated this session, please consider donating to the Dzogchen Center to support Lama's work or become a member. Thank you all so much. Thank you so much, dear Lama. A wonderful rest of your Sunday, everybody.
Thank you, everybody. Love to one and all. Thank you, Ben, Menla, Dzogchen Center. Thank you. Green Buddha forever.